देखो साडी पहचान देखो चंगा मैदान देखो वो के समय बैरी किन्ने ने हैरान देखो But your mama's home, we can bring it, we ain't got no shame. I came to play. There's a price to pay. Time for you to get down on your knees and pray. You say goodbye to the good old days. They're never coming back. Watch a few I came to play. Get my due pay. I guess you had a dream, but it. What's up? Stand up and say what's up. People over there, what's up? What's up? You can get with this, or you can get with that. You better get with this, cause this is where it's at. In the dark, I feel at home. Time has passed and now I've grown. Used to dream I'd have it all. Now it's mine, I won't let go. In the dark, I feel it home. I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world. Come on. famous now. Got the royalty running in my veins. Since I came in the game, never been the same. Yeah, take the bull by the horn. New incarnation, legacy reborn. The bar's too.
And hello everybody, welcome to the Go Home Wrestling Show. My name is EJ, alongside with me is my tag team partner today, the man, the old grouch, Shep. I have to throw that
the man with 9 toes.
Oh, yes. Well, I was going to get into ask you how your weekend went. Obviously, you showed me one of the things. You know what? I should have saved the photo and put it on stream here, but how was your Easter? Of course, not everyone celebrates Easter. If you celebrate Passover, how was your Passover? How was everyone's holiday this weekend? How was your Easter?
My Easter was actually the weekend before, so this was pretty boring for the most part until I did what I did to my toe.
Man, and you sent me that, and you asked me, did I eat yet? And I was like, oh, God. Not expecting that, and that was bad. But you made it seem like it was going to be worse than that. Again, not downplaying, because it was bad.
There is a second picture that you haven't seen yet of the bruising and swelling around it, too.
All right. Well,
it's not good.
Get him Jones says in chat, on vacation, so it was good. Oh, good. Well, hope everyone's holiday was good. I mean, mine, it was just the usual, big family and drive you nuts. And by the time I was done, I was watching wrestling to get over it. But my gift today for Mr. D-Shep is, hold on, the return of the hat that he despises the most.
I knew that was what it was.
Oh, I'm wearing it today, buddy, because I found it. To be completely honest, I lost it. I found it. And for today, for the occasion.
That goddamn hat, that if that was an old school black and white movie,
yeah,
and that hat was in there, you'd think you were on a prison chain gang.
And well, it was the hat they tried to bring back in '87. So, for people listening to the podcast,
and there's a reason why it never came back, right?
Oh, well, they did it for one night a couple years ago. But of course, everyone, thank you for tuning in. And tonight today we're gonna be covering Raw. A lot to cover on Raw. Before we get into that P for prison, don't you dare, you son of a bitch. This is a good hat. You people are starting to jump on me already.
Yeah, if you got the need for a puke bucket, then that hat is just for you.
I love it. I don't care. I get a lot of compliments for this hat. Even people that aren't Phillies fans. I had a straight out Yankees fan that shops at the store I work at and said that is an awesome hat. So I get compliments for this hat.
No.
Okay, what? Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're not even talking about wrestling. While he's getting his hat, we're going to cover Raw. We're going to cover the name changes, the roster changes that happened yesterday, and then we're going to give Bobby Roode maybe a new name, with that nice look.
You want to talk about something
busted out last
that
night.
people give compliments about?
What's that?
It is this.
Oh, ramen. You know what? I'm not even going to crack on it. I love ramen. Nice hoodie.
That's my favorite hoodie in the world. The material on it, oh my god.
Oh, I want one. I'm jealous right now. I'm
Low-key,
really jealous right
I got
now.
the matching socks and pants for that too.
Oh man, you're all out. You're kind of like that Bojangles champion guy. What's his name? FC Flair or something like that on Twitter. Really known for that kind of stuff. All right, well, let's get right into it. I mean, of course, we're going to cover Monday Night Raw, but before we get to that, there's a few things. Oh, man, Scott, you're cool?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just making sure. And when you're dying on the air. That's it. Before we cover Raw, a few things were announced before the show went on the air. First thing was Andrade Cien Almas is back on SmackDown Live, along with Selena Vega. After the great debut he had on Monday Night Raw, a week later, back on SmackDown Live. Well, the rumor is, D-Shep, that they said that Fox wanted more of a Hispanic presence on the program. And to be honest with you, I think they picked the right guy for it. So as far as that, I could take that. As much as I was excited about the possible matchups we'll see on Raw, you're probably going to see them on SmackDown next year during the Superstar Shakeup. So we might see that. We just might have to wait a year, and I'm okay with that. But of course, this is the other move that made me a little bit upset, but I understand why they did it, because he is married to Selena Vega, and that is Aleister Black. He goes over to SmackDown, which means the end of Aleister Black and Ricochet. But a lot of people are okay with that because they would rather see them two as singles guys. I was actually a fan of their tag team and what they have done in the last, month or two. Before we go any further, also Samoa Joe and Cesaro goes over to Raw. I mean, as far as the moves, do you have any takes on that before we go on to the Viking Raiders?
Quite a bit of takes from this. There's so many other ways I think they could have did all this and would have been better off. I'm okay with the Black and Ricochet thing, first off, being split up, because that storyline was never meant for them anyway. So to me, that's just water under the bridge. But me personally, you sent over all this fire from the tag team division over to Raw. So this is what I personally would have preferred. And that was, I get Sheamus is out right now, but Sheamus is going to eventually come back, so you send him over to Raw with Cesaro. Simple. Then you keep Vega on this, and you also move Charlotte Flair over, and you keep Aleister Black on Raw. Then for SmackDown, you send over Ricochet, Lucha House Party, and you never had sent Rey Mysterio over. So then I think you got your Latino stuff with Rey and the Lucha House Party. And it's just a fair warning to everybody that's excited for WWE to go over to Fox. Problem here, it's already a trend, is that they're dictating what the product is going to look like before it ever even hits the air. And that's a potential problem for us wrestling fans, that they have so much input that WWE don't mind making themselves look like complete dumbasses with having a guy here 1 week, there another week. Basically, what that told me was that Fox was sitting back. They watched the Superstar Shakeup. They were not fucking happy. They called in and told him, no, you're doing this, and they catered to it like just, it was nothing. If it was properly set up where, okay, these guys got transferred back over, maybe a trade or something, but it seemed like they did it in such a sneaky kind of way that it looked bad on WWE, and it looks, in my opinion, even worse for Fox, because to me, it's not a good sign. They wanted Roman Reigns. If Ronda Rousey wasn't having a baby, they were going to have Ronda Rousey too. We all know that. And now the Latino thing too. What's next? They're going to want an Indian presence and have Jinder Mahal come over too? I mean, where does it stop?
I get what you're saying with that, because with Fox Sports, they got soccer. So you want that crossover. You have
they
a Hispanic
wanted
guy.
On this basically
for
Fox Sports, the Spanish Deportes.
Yeah.
I know it's ESPN Deportes, but I forget what the Fox Sports one's called. But yeah, I think that's a bad sign, an early bad sign.
Well, my thing with that is that obviously they want to cater to, they want to expand their audience, and they're already a channel that everyone can access. So if you got Fox in your market, which most people do, I mean, you're going to see it. But they want to expand upon that because they want to put program on FS1. They got that talk show I think they're going to do. They're going to do a panel program on Tuesday nights when they move the show over to Friday nights for SmackDown. I'm okay with that, though. Again, like I said, I'm okay with that. You're going to see those potential matchups that we could have saw on Raw next year when they move them over. Because I think SmackDown may be their main focus for a little bit. Because what they could bring to them.
And there's nothing wrong with that from that point of view. No. But the only thing I worry about is, a lot of people want to point to people like Vince Russo, Eric Bischoff for the death of WCW or some other random person. The true death of WCW was that eventually the network got too much power. And they were the ones that made the critical nail in the coffin type mistakes. And I worry as a WWE fan of history kind of repeating itself.
I don't
give them too much control.
No, I don't think they do. I think for the initial, like, get it all set up, I think it's fine. I think from there, it remains to be seen. But for now, I think the moves they made were right. Cesaro, I've been saying this for the longest time. We've been talking about this. I liked him as a tag team, but Cesaro, I think, is better as a singles guy. It was evident that Sheamus was a guy that needed to be in a part of a tag team because you see when they go long for him, he's the guy that's winded, unlike his partner that could still go for another 40 minutes. He's well conditioned as opposed to Sheamus.
The thing was, Sheamus put on all that extra. It wasn't bad weight that he put on, but he put on all that extra weight starting with the Ninja Turtle movie, and then he had the other movie shortly after that. And he put on a solid 20, 30 pounds. Not a fat, but just he was still buff as hell, but he put on too much weight, and it just showed in the ring every match, like you said. Yeah, you can look fit on the outside, but on the inside, he was basically fat, which his body couldn't handle that extra weight he put on, just my opinion, and it led to the injury problems he has now, and good for him. Hopefully, he can go away for a while with this injury, come back healthy, shed about 15, 20 pounds. We all seen, we're going to talk about Bray Wyatt later. My God, you want to talk about shedding weight. But I think if that happens with Sheamus too, Sheamus can get back to that old WWE champion run. I know he's got another run like that in him. Hopefully, God help us, he ditches that fucking stupid-ass mohawk. That mohawk is already like 3 years out of date. But so,
yeah, I'm with you on that. But I want to see Cesaro do something. I know we have it.
That man deserves a run.
Yeah, he does of some sort, anything. I've been saying that all along. I'm a big fan of his work. Kudos, for them to
Frankly,
make that move.
I really hope it's going to be a long shot with all the talent they got these days rolling around. But I would love to see Cesaro in the mix for the Money in the Bank match.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. But another thing that happened yesterday is that the internet sensation, the Viking Experience, is no more because now they're known as the Viking Raiders, which was a lot of people's suggestions for, switching the name to that. That should have been the name. They shouldn't have went with what they went with. I'm okay with the name, but overall, I mean, what's your take about them switching the name? Do you feel did it hurt the product anyway, as far as them? Meaning them, and how do you feel about the name? I'm sorry, my ADD.
I don't think the name is going to be what we all remember about these guys in a year or two. I think it was stupid. Yeah, it shouldn't have taken this long to get to the name that we're at now, and also including the name to the finisher. It shouldn't have took all that. We get that. And yes, they're not getting the biggest reaction in the world. Well, part that has to do with booking them as heels, which isn't going to help get that crowd pop right away, which I think is really the only mistake they've made with these guys so far of substantial value. I think the name chief, that was just some shit to talk about. It was kind of funny, but I think it's going to get watered down real quick. I don't think it's going to matter at all. And these guys are, man, when these guys start having matches with the likes of the Usos and Revival and stuff like that, my God, the crowd will get behind them. I got faith in it in the long term. Short term, not so much. Yeah, the name's still kind of dumb. You would prefer something with War instead of Raiders if you had to pick between those two names. And I get that, but I don't think it's going to hurt these guys in the long run, just the short term.
All right, well, Mac, for people that are listening to this on podcast form, we're on Mixer, YouTube, Twitch, Periscope, and now Facebook Live. So, Mac21023 said hi. Hello, welcome to the channel. I just want to let you know that we saw your message and welcome. I'm with you on that. I love the name. I liked it when someone suggested it on Twitter last week. It's still, as far as marketing, I think that's where they were going with, why they went with the change in the name. Viking, just imagine what they could do with the Viking helmets. I saw that side of it, and I kind of agreed with what they did there.
Did you see the funny tweet? One person did a spoof of the Monday Night Football matchup screen.
Yeah.
And on the left side was the Vikings, and on the right side was the Raiders. That was pretty lit.
Get him, Joe says, but they did destroy Lucha House Party. Not only did D-Shep loved it, I loved it. I loved it, too. Yeah, we both were not a fan of that. We weren't a fan of all the segments they did with them. But it was good because they didn't need a legitimate match. This is like superstars back in Saturday mornings in the 90s. They would face a local scrub, beat the shit out of them, and they go on to their next match. That was just what we saw last night, and I was okay with that. All right. So now that we're done with that, we talked about all the changes that happened before Monday Night Raw. And here we are, Monday Night Raw, Des Moines, Iowa, the home of the Universal Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. But we're going to be talking about the two triple threat matches and, of course, the main event later on in the show. First, we're going to talk about, the first thing we're going to address is the Sami Zayn promo. And I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I was floored by this promo. Holy shit is all I got to say about that. Sami Zayn came out to berate the WWE Universe, as he did in the prior 2 weeks. Of course, he started talking about how the 10 months he was out was the best time in his life. He, of course, showed pictures of his vacation to the universe on the Titantron. I did like that little touch to it. And he said since his return, he has had nothing but anxiety and depression. And he went on to tell the universe to fulfill their empty lives by not critiquing everything they do, but to take a trip to hell. Drops the mic and leaves the ring. I got to tell you, man, I loved the promo. I loved this whole angle he's been going with. I got to get your take on this. Well, how'd you feel about it, man?
This is the Daniel Bryan program, but on steroids.
Absolutely.
This is some of the best stuff. He's just a god on the mic. Let's put it this way. You know, someday we could be talking about him being better on the mic than even someone like The Miz. I mean, he is absolutely insane. Nobody a couple years ago thought he could pull a heel like this. Oh, my God. Nobody. Everybody was mad the first time he turned heel. And then everybody was disappointed he came back heel this time around. But, man, he is just money, money, money with whatever he does on the mic. Problem is, they throw him in shitty feuds all the time. And if we got a little tease after that amazing promo of his first feud possibly being with Cedric Alexander of all people because of that fucking stare down, I'm going to be highly pissed off.
Why? Why, if you don't mind me asking? But you know what?
Because they obliterated Cedric Alexander in that match he had. So, how am I supposed... What's that?
I kind of disagree with you on that one.
He looked...
Cedric looked good in that match. It was a good back and forth. It wasn't domination.
Come on. He never had a chance in that match. What I'm saying is, if this is going to be the guy to have a feud with Sammy, you can't have him losing his first match on Raw, though. I can't. Then how am I supposed to take Cedric Alexander seriously against Sami Zayn?
All right, let me ask you a question real quick. Who do you think could benefit off the victory last night? Cedric or Cesaro? Knowing what they've gone through over on SmackDown. Cedric. You think Cedric?
If you're going to throw him in a high-profile feud, then Cedric. If they're not going to do Cedric and Sammy, then I'm completely fine with who won. It should be Cesaro then, especially if you're going to throw him in the Money in the Bank match, which would be fantastic. But I'm not too excited about Cedric versus Sammy if that's the route they choose to go.
And you know what? I get your point, because if a heel loses, as long as they get heat afterwards, like he could really hurt Cedric
and
after the match.
Sammy already lost his first match, so you got to. Sammy needs a win when he enters his next feud, right?
Again, heels don't really need to, as long as they keep getting heat afterwards. I mean, they don't always have that is old school wrestling. You know how that is. Like, $1 Million Man would lose time after time to Hulk Hogan, and then he would do dastardly things that get Hulk Hogan wound up and get the heat from the crowd. You could do that still. It could still be done. So that's why I kind of agree with you, half point. But yeah. I think for what happened on SmackDown, I think it was better for him to get the victory just for this time. But to have a stare down, you've seen it time and time again back in the day where that would start a feud. That simple stare down.
No, I get that. That's what started the feud.
I love it. I love that.
That stare down didn't get my dick hard, though, is all I'm saying.
Let's see how they execute. I have faith they will do something with it. I really do.
And all I will say is if that is the route they go to, Sami Zayn will knock it out of the park because that's what Sami Zayn does, and that's what he did in the Bobby Lashley feud a year ago. He made that from nothing, that entire feud, and if it happens to be Cedric, he will make Cedric, whether whoever wins or loses, he'll make the situation banging either way.
Papa Spark, hey, what's up, man? He said, the only person I have faith in WWE is Go Home Wrestling. Well, I mean, I still enjoy the product. We try to be positive for the most part. Like I said, there's some things that they do right, and then there's things that and I do apologize, I have a kid in the background. There's some things that they do that I question. Good God.
No, the only thing I would say is we have faith in the direction they're going, but we some ways don't like the road they take to get there sometimes.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, if you sat down now after the last couple weeks and you looked at all the roster moves, you're excited. You, for the most part, probably 90% agree with every move that was made. But how we got there with name changes and flip-flopping and this and that, that's what we have more of an issue with than the actual moves and potential matchups themselves.
And one better way, though, I think it's also, because this is like the new era, what better way to like bring a guy in to put him in a program with someone like Sami Zayn? Like I said, what we have seen this week, what we've seen in the prior weeks, you're seeing a change in the creative a little bit. Some things are questioning, some things they're knocking out of the park. Let's give it time. Let's look at it on a broad view. Let's not have tunnel vision on this. I think they have something here. I can't wait to see how they get there, and I'm really sure they're going to get there and not fuck this up. If not, send them back to 205 Live if you fuck it up. Papa Smart says, same, was looking forward to Post-Mania. Now I feel they can sink their teeth into new era stuff mentioned in February. Exactly. That is perfectly said right there. Well, going on, we already kind of covered the Cesaro versus Cedric Alexander match. I mean, what do you think of the match overall? I wasn't over it. I didn't see as much of the back and forth that you saw within the match. But I'm 100% behind who won, as long as it's not Cedric versus Sammy. If it's Cedric versus Sammy, then I would have rather seen Cedric win. Well, Cedric got some offense, is what I was saying. Not back and forth like, oh, it was a seesaw matchup. He got some offense, and when he really tried to mount it, Cesaro cut him off. That's what I should have said instead of back and forth.
Yeah. It didn't tickle my fancy.
Okay, well, that's fine. I think it was a pretty impressive debut despite the loss, and I can't wait to see where they go from there. Okay, so now that we're done with the Sami Zayn, we talked about the Cedric Alexander match and Cesaro, Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Now, we've seen 2 great weeks of encounters between these two. Lacey Evans last week qualified to face Becky Lynch at Money in the Bank, which was perceived that it was a Raw Women's title, but someone messed up on their promo, I think, by announcing that she's going to take both titles. I'm a little confused with what they were saying there, but nonetheless, I guess Fox had to take some punishment for what she did backstage recently. She was pretty much in a match with Becky Lynch, even though she got a little bit of offense, but Becky Lynch dominated the match. Of course, she gets the win with the disarmer, and right after the match. As soon as the bell rang, the Southern Belle came right in and gave her the women's right. Not once, but twice. Ending the segment, her on top, Becky Lynch down. Giving the people some belief that she might actually walk out of Money in the Bank with the title. My question for you, forget about the match because it was a squash match. What do you think about the segment and how they followed up from the past 2 weeks?
I think the moment that Lacey Evans messed up in that promo, it went downhill. Now, it got brought back uphill with the two women's rights because she knocks that part of her character, her setup, her gimmick, whatever you want to call it. She knocks that part out of the park. The rest of the stuff is kind of you're threading the mediocre stages of everything, like the curry flavors and all that stuff. You're going to get beat by a lady, the man. The man's always the center of attention. Who the fuck ever in their right mind, male or female, ever says the male is the center of attention? Get the fuck out of here, for one. That sounded retarded, too. We all know who the real center of attention are, and most of us men, especially us married one, are completely okay with that. But to come out there and say, oh, the man's the center of attention and a lady's going to show you, what? It just, get the mic away from her. She's fairly on the upside, talented in the ring, so I'd rather stick with that a little bit more. So just cut down her promo time a little. Another thing is, I didn't know Alicia Fox still had a job. There was this thing back in the day about 5 to 10 years ago where on the internet every day we were like, how's JTG still have a job? How's JTG still have a job? That went on for like 5-6 years. Remember that?
Oh, yeah,
That's
I remember
the same
that.
with Alicia Fox. How does she still have a job?
I don't know.
Is nothing but a backstage problem. You hear stories all the time. She had a couple light botches in this match. Well, that's to be expected when you only wrestle a couple times a fucking year. I didn't need a squash match, essentially, like you said, even though
she was used as a prop for the promo. That's all it was.
But if you're going to do that, you might as well just use Dana as a fucking prop then, at least.
No. Make Fox pay for what she did recently.
You're going to bring some chick out of the woodwork and just whatever. But
I get what you're saying. And some of your complaints are valid. I do agree with that. But I agree with Adam Jones. I agree with him. He said he already likes this more than the Mania triple threat. Why?
I absolutely agree with that too.
Why is that? Because it's simple. They kept it simple. There's not much to it. We said it from the start when she first punched her in the face on that ramp 2 weeks ago. What did we say? We both said this. It was going to take that to start a feud. It was the Southern Belle with the manners going up against the man that has no manners. That promo proved it last night. And again, I think you think it may be corny and it seems a little WWF-ish in the 90s, but if you want to go back to the traditional wrestling in a way, some people say that. You hear it a lot. Let's get back to traditional wrestling. She's one of those women that are, doing that thing right now. So for me, I like it. I like what she's doing. And the reason she is what she is, former military, she sits there, she shuts up, she listens, executes everything she does. You could see that. A lot of people, no one talks bad about her. You should see the interview after interview after interview, what people say about her. She's put on a pedestal, and you know what? They just stuck a rocket up her ass, and it's shot up. How long has she been on the main roster? And look where she's at this point. Sorry. It's me, but again, I agree with some of your points. I really do. I kind of like her little angle that she's doing right now.
No, I like it. I want the promos toned down a little because the promos at the end of the day is what killed the Mania triple threat feud. It was way too many promos, way too many extended this, extended that. I don't think you need all this with Lacey and Becky. Just have short little snippet promos and a solid match, a few attached, and you're golden.
Okay, well, I again, We'll see where they go. They kept it simple. Don't make it complicated. I can't wait to see the execution. I can't wait. I actually was saying this. I can't wait for the match. And look who it is. Magriff, what's up,
He's
buddy?
not dead. He's not dead.
He's alive. What's up? Oh, he did text me. I'm sorry, buddy. I had the ringer off because we're recording. I'm sorry. We'll talk. I'll hit you up right after we go off the air. Welcome, buddy. All right, let's go right into the next scene, which we're going to be doing a bit right after we cover this. Robert Roode gets a reboot. Of course, he faced Ricochet in a one-on-one competition. Incredible match between the two. Some people were for it online. A lot of people were not a fan of it. I guess it was more for the result because they thought Ricochet would have came out on top. But if you're going to reboot someone, you don't have them automatically lose. So I agree that Roode, of course, gets the victory, the much-needed victory, hitting Ricochet with the glorious DDT. My question for you, what do you think of the match? What do you think of the reboot? And most importantly, do you have a couple names? We'll get into that right after that. So just answer those two questions.
Well, the first little side thing I want to say is that I don't know how you put Ricochet in the Money in the Bank match after losing clean to Robert Roode. That I don't see how he gets in there, which is very, very disappointing.
Not
as far as
Goldberg.
just the reboot is concerned, oh my God. We could probably talk about this for hours and hours, make fun of that mustache for hours and hours. But at the end of the day, just give me Robert Roode and that 80s porn mustache up against Wayne Cena. That's right, Wayne Cena, the doctor of cockonomics.
And of course, I put out a tweet. We'll get into it, and I'll give you my point on the whole thing with Robert Roode. We went on Twitter last night, and I tweeted out to come up with your best wrestling porn name. Some got it, the joke. Some were either trolling or they just didn't get it. But I'm going to say it. First one, the Clog Podcast. They said Tom Selcock because it kind of looked. He did get that Tom Selleck look going on. Of course, Court. Actually, Millie55 said the Money Shot. And then you got Power Moves that said Dick Dude. That's awesome. That was probably my most favorite one. And then you got Sean Jones that said Dick Hammerbush. Now, this is the one I figured was either a troll or he just didn't get it. Marvelous Mark Monroe said Randy Orton's angry cousin, who you only see at weddings, but he's always the first one to call for shots. He has been divorced 4 times and has a bulldog named Brutus. Okay.
You know what I need, though? I need to happen with this gimmick. I need Aiden English back on Raw. Because can we do, instead of Rusev Day, Mustache Day? And eventually, the mustache could be more over than Robert Roode could ever hope to be. And I'm telling you, if they keep that mustache, there is no way on God's green earth that Robert Roode is still a heel, I don't know, 3 months from now. Because that mustache is going to be over. Especially if they have him keep winning. That mustache could send him through the fucking moon.
There you go. Sorry about that. Well, of course, I got this last one. Kirk Smirkler is the last one we got. I had a couple. Of course, instead of Huge Morris. And then the obvious one, instead of The Rock, The Cock. That's enough. That's all I have to say. Of course, if you guys want to get your little names in there in the chat, we'll read them.
We got to think of something on the fly here then. If you got The Rock being the cock, then what is the Rock and Sock Connection? How do we rename that tag team? Because they could be
the
DP
Cock and Rubber?
Stars. The Cock and Ass Connection.
Oh, Jesus.
And they could be DP specialists.
Can you smell what my ass is cooking?
Oh, my God.
Well, overall, they go on with this. I'm glad they rebooted him. I'm glad Chad Gable's over on SmackDown and doing his thing. He's a great singles competitor. So is Robert Roode. And I actually like where they're going to go with it. I can't wait to see where they go with this. And a much-needed victory for the guy. He really needed it for what they've done to him.
I was shocked that they did that, though. I was very shocked they got him to win.
I think a certain person's contract's coming up, and I think that's what that is. I don't know when it is, but for anyone they made this turn for, obviously they're coming up on their contract. That's what it seems to be. And the one that pretty much said, no, I pass, is obviously Dean Ambrose so far. And others actually asked for the releases. One of them has been granted, and others are still trying. All right. Well, going on with returns and reboots, Bray Wyatt returns in a very weird vignette where he appears to be a host of a kids show. It was like a Blue's Clues meets Pee Wee Herman in the 80s for people that are old enough like us. And you did see that difference in Twitter because people like us were going with Pee Wee Herman as the younger people were going with Steve with Blue's Clues. And that just shows the age gap there. But Wyatt creepily addressed the WWE Universe as they were kids and said goodbye to his former self, hacking a cardboard cutout with a chainsaw in a surreal image. Then he introduced his buzzard puppet and creepy doll from the prior vignettes, leaving the WWE Universe kind of baffled of what they saw and confused, like, all right, what's going on here? What did you think of this segment? I'm curious to get your take, because obviously the look I know you're going to go with, and I'll comment on that. But you're an old school guy. Seeing the vignettes the way you saw it, did that smell of Bruce Pritchard when it comes to this promo? Are we seeing some old school kind of aspects added to this?
I could see that. He still showed the creepy side at the end with the sinister laugh and the chainsaw that amazingly cut through that cardboard without any kind of blade on it, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what to make. It's almost 24 hours later, and I still don't know what I watched last night. All I can say is that, people shitted on the broken gimmick in TNA when it first came out. And they gave Matt Hardy creative freedom over there, and that's what made that gimmick what it is till this day. But he's doing other stuff now, obviously. I think as long as they don't get too hands-on with Bray, whatever Bray is trying to pull off here, he can do it if creative doesn't try to take too much away from Bray in this. If Bray's allowed to take this and run, whatever this is, I don't think nobody can give the correct answer on that one right now. I think it could be absolute gold. You can start him out as Mr. Rogers, essentially, in the ring, even eventually pair him up with the B team. Because now he really looks like fucking Bo Dallas. That's fucking amazing.
That's the first thing I saw with that
photo. I could eventually see him being Mr. Rogers for a few months and eventually snapping on whoever his partner or partners end up being, or just snapping in general. And maybe not go full all the way back to the Bray Wyatt we used to know, but just a more, basically, if you dropped Mr. Rogers into a horror movie, I think that's where this character is eventually going to go.
I like the whole vignette. Yeah, I get the creepy Mr. Rogers type thing. But what if if they will bust out some of that Pee Wee Herman, like if you say the enemy's name, people go nuts, the puppet goes crazy, the other puppets from the vignettes go crazy. I can see them doing something like that.
He's got to bring the puppets out to the ring.
Oh, yeah. Do like a Mr. Soccer type thing with the Mandible Claw. I mean, there's so much you could go with this. They just started planting the seeds. And then have Mick Foley
come back and smack the shit out of him and try to snap him back into the normal Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, there's something there.
There's something there. Yeah. We don't know what that is yet, but there is something.
And I can't wait to see where they go with that. Yeah, I mean, obviously he had to be reinvented as well. That Bray Wyatt gimmick with the Wyatt family is, pretty much done. One of your guys left is asked for his release and pretty much will be granted that release. The other one is with Daniel Bryan at the moment. It would only seem weird for him to jump back with him. He had to do something different. And what we saw, there's so many ways they could go with it. And like you said, that Mr. Rogers thing, it's very unique. I love it. I just can't wait to see where they go from here. And they just planted that seeds to the resurgence of Bray Wyatt and the new character of Bray Wyatt, and I can't wait to see. I can't wait. I'm excited for this. All right. And I do apologize for the stuff in the background. I have my kid down here with me. Usually she's upstairs, but not today. The last thing we're going to be covering is obviously the main thing that took over most of the show, and that was the 2 triple threat matches for the chance to go on a one-on-one match later on in that show to close the show. Winner of it, obviously, goes on to face the Universal Champion at Money in the Bank in a few weeks. Of course, they started the show with Triple H and Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion. They, like I said, they just talked about, Triple H addressed that there will be 2 triple threats. The first match was Mysterio, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles. The second one was Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, and The Miz. Both of them were thrown into 2 triple threat matches. You had the 2 winners faced off later on. And, of course, like I said, winner faces Rollins. The first match, Mysterio, Joe, and Styles.
Hey, a SmackDown match.
Yep, basically. On Raw. Of course.
New matchups. Superstar shakeup. New matches. Here.
Oh.
Not really.
Oh, we're not even getting into They put on, you gotta admit, they put on a show.
No. I'm not talking about the match. This is a fucking joke right here. You take 3 SmackDown guys that just came over. You could have mixed up these matches, different combinations is all I'm saying. But to come out there and literally have Mysterio's been feuding with Joe. Joe's been feuding with Styles virtually a lot of the time early this year. This just didn't feel like a new matchup. That was my only problem with it. Otherwise, I was okay. But yeah, Joe really didn't have to eat the pin again either. This should have been Ray taking the pin, but I guess they want Ray to still look strong because I'm sure he's going to continue this feud with Joe now. But the match itself, I was completely okay with until the very end, and I just didn't like Adam Jones said, Joe shouldn't have took that fall.
Yeah, I know. And, of course, what you're addressing is that in the match, Styles hit the Styles Clash from Rey Mysterio onto Samoa Joe. I think that it was logical because he kind of took the brunt of that. You had 2 men that landed on you. I guess that's why he went with that. And obviously Rey Mysterio wasn't going to break up the pin because he was just throwing the Styles Clash. That's why I feel they did that.
Well, could you not have just did Joe in the Styles Clash on top of Ray, though?
Weight difference. Weight difference.
He's done the Styles
Clash.
I
know, but...
We're afraid of breaking Ray, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's injury prone, so let's keep it as it was.
I know, it's just...
But overall, despite the ending, what did you think of the match?
Oh, I said fantastic. No issue whatsoever until the last 30 seconds.
Sorry, my kid's going.
I just think you could have took one of these guys out and inserted Corbin or Drew in this. I didn't think you needed Corbin and Drew in the same match.
And one thing that is weird that you say is that out of the 6 competitors for SmackDown, or former SmackDown, that just came over. The only one said, like you said,
and the one guy I was really surprised wasn't in the mix here. And this is what I personally would have did. I would have took Mysterio out of this, keep him safe for the Joe feud, and this is where I would have had Lashley. I don't think Lashley was going to win a triple threat, but I think out of everybody involved, if you were going to take one of the SmackDown new call-ups, out of this, I would have took Ray out and put Lashley in.
Yeah, I think The Miz and Joe obviously were the better two to be representative coming over from SmackDown if you want to do that. Overall, yeah, I agree. I think that was one of the best matches.
I was real shocked we didn't have Bobby Lashley on this show overall. It was kind of weird.
Again, they want new things. I guess that's their thing for now. Hold on a second. My kid's yapping in the background. The second match, of course, and I do apologize if you hear this. I'm going to try to drown this out in post-production. McIntyre, Corbin, and The Miz in the second matchup. Of course, you knew it was going to happen, McIntyre and Corbin. Yeah. Hold on a second. McIntyre and Corbin teamed up for a little bit. You knew it was going to happen. They've been in a part of a fashion, if you would say, in the last 6 months. So it seemed fitting that they were going to team up on The Miz. And at one point, I knew it was going to happen. Corbin did break that little partnership up when he slugged McIntyre. And the biggest thing of them all is that at the end, when McIntyre hit the Claymore on The Miz, who threw him out and who got the pin? Gaining more heat is my man Baron Corbin. I'm telling you right now, I'll give you my point, okay? It was a great match all around. Wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still a good match. And I love the fact that my man that came off of WrestleMania, getting the heat, beating Kurt Angle, that old bum, coming into this show and stealing this victory as he should. That man, kudos to him. Round of applause for, yeah, shove it up your ass. Baron Corbin is the best, okay? It was great. How could you not like that?
The only reason I get why Corbin won, I do. I agree to a point. I just don't understand. When the fuck are we going to give Drew some goddamn respect? Like, I get that he wasn't the choice to go to Money in the Bank. But Drew McIntyre, he needs a big fucking win for fuck's sake. Stop shitting on the man. I'm sick and tired of it. The man is gold on the mic, gold in the fucking ring. He's the top heel on the fucking roster. You can take Corbin and shove it up your fucking ass. This is complete other bullshit.
What the fuck? Hold on. First of all, they're both
Fuck
great.
Baron Corbin.
I love Baron Corbin.
Trash.
I love Baron Corbin. Stop hating on. You're like the rest of the WWE.
I'm a former this. I'm a former that. I'm a former this. I'm a former that. Yeah, you're former. You're none of those things anymore, you stupid motherfucker.
Well, same thing with Drew McIntyre. Former
if you had a one-on-one match of Corbin versus Drew, and it was actually legitimate match, really?
Hold on. You don't see that possibly happening in Money in the Bank? Right there, you just got your match.
They're going to put them two numbnuts in the goddamn ladder match. You know that, and I know that.
We don't know. You want my honest opinion? Keep them the fuck away from that match. Main reason, you got a good match for Money in the Bank, and you get Drew on top. Going into a summer program.
You have two faces essentially going at it in the main event of Money in the Bank. You have Drew McIntyre win the fucking briefcase and cash that shit in right away. Anything else is just unacceptable to me.
You know what? That would be fine, but I would like to see a summer program going into SummerSlam.
I don't want to see goddamn Colt.
Why would you not want to see
another Baron Corbin program? I'm just going to go shit my own fucking bed.
Instant results. You're just like the rest of the millennials. You want instant gratification. No fucking storytelling. You got something that could go into SummerSlam, okay? With a great match, with the conclusion, with the man that you're saying that deserves something, come out on top with the Universal title.
Why do we need all that?
Because that's the way wrestling is.
He beat the living piss out of Dolph Ziggler like 4 fucking months ago. When can we give him that fucking push that we all expected to start
the push.
right then and there?
Program with him.
I don't need to see. You see, who the hell wants to see a Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre program?
No, I'm talking about him and Seth. I'm sorry, I should have specified that then. The one match at Money in the Bank, put him on top over Corbin. You seen that? Then you have him getting into a program. Keep him the fuck away from that ladder match, okay? You don't need that. You don't want that instant gratification. Screw cashing in. Save that for someone else.
The only instant gratification I want is Baron Corbin not to be on the fucking pay-per-view at all.
Oh, stop hating. Jesus Christ. What is so bad about him, besides that he gets underneath your skin by saying the things that's supposed to annoy you as a heel? What is he doing wrong?
He is stiff as fuck in the ring. Stiff as a fucking iron board. Fuck Baron Corbin. I'm a former this. I'm a former that. I don't like that fucking
Get him Jones in chat.
Either. They're retarded.
Get him Jones in chat said, why is Baron still in Shane's gimmick? Which part are you talking about? The former thing? Everyone has said that. This guy's just more of a dick and arrogant. I just love how he gets underneath everyone's skin. That is what a heel does, okay? What him and Tommaso Ciampa and quite a few others in the WWE still can do.
Heel stuff that Corbin's doing, but it's the most basic heel stuff in the fucking world.
And that's all you need
to
get
Corbin
over
is
or
doing,
hate.
though.
That's to be liked or hated. It's the simple things that the average fan likes. Those fans have been forgotten about in the WWE because you're not supposed to think heel or face. But now they're embracing it. They're embracing managers again. It's that fan base that's been forgotten, and here you are. Be given that again, and what is everyone doing? They're bitching about it. Baron Corbin is gold. He's good in the ring. I don't see why people are against him as much as they are. But you know what? He'll prove you wrong. And he did address that last night in a promo, which I also loved. Oh, I'm sorry, but this is our first big blowout. Hold on. Let's calm it down for a second. Hold on. You know what? Mr. Mahal, please, if you could. Okay, I feel better. Do you feel better? Did Jinder help you?
No, because we still got to talk about Corbin some more, so I'm not better.
I am a little bit, because even though we're going to be talking about the next part where he didn't come out on top, it was still a hell of a match. All right. Now that I'm calm, of course, Corbin gets the victory in the second match. Styles gets the win in the first one. And here we are to end the show. Styles, Corbin, main event. Not closing out with a promo. Not closing it out with a bullshit segment. Not a toss-away segment. We're closing it out with a professional wrestling match between two good competitors. One better than the other, I will admit that. Put on a hell of a show for 12 minutes. And of course, Baron Corbin had the upper hand for a little bit. AJ Styles fought back, gained control, didn't look back, got the victory with the phenomenal forearm, and there he is, your new number one contender to face Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. And of course, they end the show with him and Seth Rollins staring off, exchanging words as they go off there. I can't wait to ask you, how do you feel about the match? And how do you feel about the potential matchup at Money in the Bank?
This is retardation part 2.
Why?
Because as much, I'm one of those. I want to see Styles versus Rollins. Money in the Bank, this is not the time. This is not the place. I don't agree with Corbin winning his match. But as much as I dislike Corbin should have won this match. It should have been Corbin or Drew going on to face Rollins. They were setting it up during the show, which was weird, too. The way Baron talked in that backstage promo, too, about how, I forget that bitch's name, Charlie Caruso, I think, or whatever.
Charlie Caruso.
But she asked him about how wouldn't it be nice to face the guy that's been a thorn in your side the whole time you were the general manager or whatever. They just seemed like they were going that way. And then when AJ actually won, I was surprised because at this point, I would have saved AJ and Rollins for SummerSlam. That's me. And as much as I shit on Baron Corbin, and still will, if you're going to have him win the triple threat match, you should have had him win this match too. I think it
would
would
have
have
got
been
ultimate
right.
heat.
And it's not because, oh man, I want to see a heel versus a face. I'm fine with seeing Styles versus Rollins. I just don't think you're like one guy said on Twitter. WWE is just busting their load too soon.
Here's the thing. I see AJ Styles' potential getting the title back. I don't see it until maybe Survivor Series, maybe later than that. I have a feeling that you're going to see Drew with the title probably at SummerSlam.
I sure hope so.
And then you're going to get that nice feud between him and AJ. That's what it seems like they're setting up. And obviously Styles, believe it or not, they said the latest schedule will be for Raw for him. That's why they put him over there. Overall, I agree with you. It should have been Baron Corbin. If you were to get the heat that he did in the first match, it would have been definite gold to put him over in that match as well. To beat...
the heat would have been just on another level.
Yeah, were they fair to execute? I understand, yeah. They could still, in a way, next week he'll come out and do the same thing and piss the fans off again. That's how good of a heel he is. And I've been saying that all along. We agreed that when he was a constable, and again when he was the GM, that he was doing incredible work, getting underneath people's skins, doing what he was doing in the ring. We were agreeing with that. I know there's a lot of hate now with him, but guess what? The guy still gets underneath your skin. It's not going stale. Simple little jabs are doing the job.
No. It went stale for about 2 months at the beginning of the year. And then he busted the gimmick back out when the Angle feud leading up to Mania started.
Fair enough. Yeah, you have a good point on that one.
From late December to early mid-February, it got super, super stale to the point where that's when I dropped out of it. And I wasn't as into him anymore. And then they finally went back to it. And I always said back then, had they never taken that little break the way they did with that character and they just kept it going, he could be even a bigger heel right now than he already is. At the end of the day, when it comes to Money in the Bank, Baron and Drew aren't in the match. I'm disappointed by that. I think it should have been one of the two. I'm just really hopeful. I don't know if you need both of them in the ladder match, but if Baron or Drew don't win the briefcase, I think that's a travesty. One of the two's got to come out of that because I don't want to see The Miz with it. I don't want to see Ray. I don't want to see any of the faces, And Samoa Joe, obviously, we know they're not going to let Samoa Joe win, right?
No, not the moment.
So, if you were in Vegas, wouldn't your top two choices be Baron or Drew at this point?
I put all my money on Baron. That's what it seemed like they were going to go with. I was surprised, but we're going to see a matchup. Yeah, people are like, oh, they're blowing a wad. No, because you know what? Last year, a lot of people were not for the Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles. The series of matches that they had were really good. And I think the one at, what was it, SummerSlam was the final one.
But I think this is all...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was to me, that was the best one. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right. I think this is all a setup for an immediate cash-in. They made it a point during the Alexa Bliss thing where they announced that she's going to announce to people. I think it was Corey made it a point to say how she cashed in right away that night last year. So they made that point with that. They made the point they did in the backstage thing with Corbin. They basically made the point with Corbin turning on Drew first during the match. So you can, I would not be surprised if Drew or Corbin did not walk out as a Universal Champion. I would not be shocked. It sets it up more so also the fact that it's face versus face, because it seems like the heel thing to do is to come in after that. It's how you get the heel involved in the main title match. I don't think that match needs it. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if Drew or Corbin didn't walk out as champ after this weekend.
All right, well, I'm going to read a comment I saw in chat right here. Bacon THPS, welcome. He's over on Mixer. He says, I'm surprised Baron Corbin hasn't got the heavyweight title yet. If not that, they need to give him the US IC. In one honest opinion, he had the US title. I think it should be up there with the main event. He has the ability in the ring. He has the way to get over, get heat.
And,
he's one of the top guys. They built this guy up perfectly. This gimmick with the Constable and GM took him up to the top. He went from mid-card to main event.
And would it not be redemption since Corbin has a past cash-in fail if he were to win it and then eventually, however long, successfully cash that shit in? That would be redemption for him too.
Absolutely. I actually like I like how you're thinking right there. That's awesome. That would be cool.
As much as I'd rather see Drew in the scenario that's unfolding, if it's not Drew, it has to be Baron Corbin.
I just see Drew in the SummerSlam match. That's what I see. A lot of people are speculating that too. I read articles this morning that thinking the same way I am. I think it's going to be Rollins McIntyre. They didn't want to blow that off yet. Blow that up yet. I think you're probably going to see. This is what I think it might be. Obviously, you got AJ and Rollins at Money in the Bank. I don't think they got a June pay-per-view because of the Saudi Arabia show. So they canceled.
Yeah, they canceled Black.
Yeah, Backlash.
It's like
It's all good. I'm sorry. And then Extreme Rules, which I'll be attending in Philadelphia. I feel that's probably you'll get a one-off match like they did with Rusev last year. Remember that? They did that one-off match. I think this might be the one-off, and then you're going to see I think you're going to see a McIntyre Rollins feud. And the thing with that is, if he was to come out on top, yeah, you could still get a match or two afterwards with them two. And the end goal is that, yeah, Rollins never gets a chance of redemption. McIntyre stays on top, and he goes into the fall with the title. It could go that way. I could be completely off, but I wouldn't mind seeing Baron Corbin and Rollins in a match. I mean, you've seen great matches with Rollins and McIntyre, and you've seen a couple with Baron Corbin. I'm going to see what Baron Corbin could do as far as the main event role. See how he, performs under that, atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere from doing, midway through the show. I mean, the energy, even in a 4-hour show, you got to bring the fans back. And if you're able to do that in a 4-hour show and pull off a great match, that says everything about you and your opponent and what you're able to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into, this is what we call the conclusion of the show. This is where we rate Raw from 1 to 5. Last week, we gave it pretty good ratings. Are we going to maintain, are we going to keep that going? What do you give it from 1 to 5 this week, my friend?
3.5.
Really?
Just because I didn't like the fact that Drew wasn't the winner, and I didn't like the week 2 of Superstar Shakeup pretty much. I thought that shit was over last week. And you got to downgrade him for all the name change stuff. I mean, you just got to. We're literally spent, a half hour making fun of name changes today. So
pretty much.
At the end of the day, you can't go too high. I did want to go for 4. If it wasn't for all the name changes, then I would have probably went a 4.
All
but
right,
3.5.
You're going to give me shit. Now, I'm not doing it just that. I'm like, I'm going to up you. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. It would have got a 5 if it weren't for the things that you mentioned. You know what I liked about last night's show? Despite the things that we didn't agree with for the most part, and I was actually off for the freaking show, but I had to catch a little bit later on delay, which I was able to rewind through the commercials, but not one time did I go, all right, I'm going to fast forward this. Not one time. Why? Because they kept very little promos, a lot more professional wrestling. That's why I love the show. I would have gave it a complete 5 if it weren't for those little things that we did, of course, acknowledged in the beginning part of the show where they fucked up at. Other than that, 4.5. I hope SmackDown could follow up this show because I thought it was a really, really good show. They had 3 incredible matches.
You got to be really curious how Andrade is tonight, right? I'm really curious. Where do you go with him? Do you keep him off a week or two, or do you just throw him right into something?
If you change him, you know what program I'd like to see him? rekindle the NXT feud with Aleister Black. You got both of them over on the Blue Brand. Why not put them both in the program again? There's some history there. So I could see that being a program right away. Let's go right to it. Something simple. A stare down like you saw with Cedric and Sammy. Just keep it simple.
Are we gonna get, do you think, 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown for the Money in the Bank? Or is they're doing 3 and 3? I think they said 4.
They just 4 of each.
Yeah. So
which we'll
who
get.
are the 4 from SmackDown going to be real quick? You got to think Andrade has a chance to be in that, right?
Yeah, if not, see him in a program with, like I said, Aleister Black in the match.
Or have them wrestle a match to qualify.
That would be also good, and you could continue on with that after the fact, after that match. Yeah, I mean, we'll see where they go with it. I mean,
yeah, that's where my focus in tonight is to see where they go with Andrade.
Yeah. My thing is, last week, the one thing I didn't like, and we kind of discussed this, is how they used Kofi Kingston to prop up Kevin Owens, where, in my opinion, it should have been the other way around. I mean, I know you want to go into the sport of the program, like when it goes over to Fox. Well, then make Kofi a credible champion. Do not waste a moment. That was WrestleMania when he won the title. Capitalize off that. I would like to see that tonight. And like
I'm
you said,
curious where they're going to go with Lars next. Who's he going to beat up this week?
Is there any big guys, like really big guys over there?
Yeah. Technically, Big Show is part of the SmackDown roster. You could always bring him in for a one-off.
That would be good. I would like that. And it'd be credible to beat someone like that because Big Show is going to be, without a doubt, a Hall of Famer. So for Lars, that would be good resume. You know, it's something to put on your resume that you beat a future Hall of Famer.
I don't know who else it would be right now because there's not a whole lot of faces on SmackDown that are credible. I want to see him do his shtick to someone a little more credible.
Well, we'll see. You know, again, we'll find out tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Sorry for the late delay today. We did a show later than expected. My kid, obviously, she's doing a lot better. She had a UTI, so we took her to get looked at, and she's doing fine. So, obviously, you hear her throughout the show, and I do apologize for that. I will try to edit that out as much as possible in the post. But overall, thank you for tuning in. For people that are watching us right now, if you can't watch this live, we put every episode on podcast form. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Anchor FM, and now Podbean. We'll be on Podcoin, which we'll get into that probably next week. I'll talk about that in more detail. That would be another platform we will be on. And for people that listen to the podcast, you can watch us live. We're on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Tuesdays we cover Raw. Wednesdays we cover SmackDown, 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we are on Mixer, Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, and now Facebook Live. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Do you have any closing remarks before we get off the air?
Keep a side note on Money in the Bank for the Big O to win the briefcase and cash it in on Kofi.
Okay. And we were talking about seeing a turn. Will we see it? We'll find out. Everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Go Home Wrestling Show. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Bye.